Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So let me make sure I'm up. I'm seeing green all around. Everything looks great. So I'm going to assume, I'm going to take it as an act of faith that everything is up. Let me do one systems check. Sorry guys, I know I do this every video, but I do this so I don't do entire videos with nobody hearing me. And playback. Yeah, good. Alright, so guys, first I want to thank all my patrons and all of my people who give super cash, people who like the videos, people who share the videos, people who dislike the videos. If you watched it, fucking A, thank you very much. It is appreciated, guys. And so when I say this, I don't say this in a perfunctory way. I do appreciate it. The second part, I am going to test drive Colin. I'm going to test drive it, see if we can get this to work right, as opposed to getting some kind of software that handles the entire process. So anybody that's on my Patreon page, they can see the call-in number for the show. I would say try it. If it's not working, let me know, and we can try to figure out what's going on. But I would say wait until the end, where we get to that point where I start bringing in conversation. What I wanted to talk about tonight was what's considered to be a bombshell. They call it a bombshell. Now, they call it a bombshell because it's their way of pulling Obama into all of this, you know, this whatever you want to call it, this minutia of fuckery in the United States government. This whole email thing in two ways. This idea that the Trump investigation, or the investigation into Donald Trump, was somewhat corrupt. That it wasn't necessarily done with clean hands. That it's done purely to tar the Trump administration and to hold up the administration from getting anything accomplished. I would say, for the moment, be above it all. And understand what I mean. Float above it all. Don't get stuck into one perspective or the other. Just be above it all. Just exist as if you're a Zen monk on a mountain looking down at all of the fuckery that these people have engaged themselves in. The first thing you would notice is that everybody in the position are hacks. All of them are hacks. All of them have a dog in the hunt. None of them are honest actors. All of them have something they want to get across. They want to get you to believe some narrative they want you to accept. All of them. It is a Shark Tank. Now, knowing that, there will be some items in this that are true. There will be some items in this that are false. Your goal and the goal of the people who are outside of this, looking down at the fuckery, if you choose to engage in looking at the fuckery and even caring about the fuckery, I gotta be honest. The bigger issue to me is the FISA warrant. Is this idea that they can do this to anybody. That's problematic to me. The second problem to me is they're doing this off of bogus information. Meaning, I have a dog in this hunt. My name is Hillary Clinton. As Hillary Clinton, I am purchasing information on my opponent, Donald Trump. I want to purchase information that entirely hits him in the knees, that brings him down where we cannot be elected based upon the information that I have weaponized and exposed to the American public. That's what I want. That's what I'm paying you for. It would be insane for Hillary Clinton to pay for something else. Hey, that guy, he likes to smoke a doobie every now and then, and he loves his mom. No, she doesn't want information like that. She wants, he got peed on by a Russian hooker. Here's a lot of money. Go get me that story of him being peed on. You can understand that people look at the situation and say, well, wait a minute. They're using information that was bought by his political opponent. And if you're a Trumpster, if you're some independent that leans a particular direction, you can look at that and honestly look at that and say, that looks a little sketchy. That looks a little sketchy. When Comey himself saying this stuff is unverified, that looks a little sketchy. So people who have doubts are not insane for having doubts. You can also look at this, looking at them out, and you can say, they had a dog in the hunt. Now, I have said that before. All of them had a dog in the hunt. But I'm saying from the standpoint of the administration, it had a dog in the hunt. There was a clear person who the administration wanted to take that office. So again, it's not insane to look at what's taking place and say, it can also be true that the administration may have had a dog in the hunt. All I'm saying is, you float between these things. You float in the mind spaces of a few people to try to get their incentives and their motivations and what they want to accomplish. And I got to be honest, floating in any of these people, you end up with the same thing. All of them are hacks. All of them have something that they want. So trying to pull out honesty and truth in this is somewhat difficult to do. What you can pull out, however, are events, things that have taken place, things that people have said, things that may motivate somebody to behave a particular way. And you yourself, based on those events, based on the information that comes out, can come to some conclusions. Now, I say that to say, if you're floating in the headspace of a typical Democrat, they're looking at this thinking, we don't believe Republicans. We don't trust Republicans. And because we don't believe and trust Republicans, everything that they're saying is to obfuscate from Russia. This is what they firmly believe. Now, this is an insane perspective because everything that they are believing at this point is coming from Democrats who have a dog in the hunt, are hacks in this situation, and they're hacks to the same degree, if not more, than Republicans. There is no side that's accurate or right. All of these sides, for the most part, have dogs in the hunt. What I look at, though, what came out, Republicans are saying that, look, and their basic argument is McCabe had a wife who was getting X amount of thousands of dollars to run in a race in Virginia. There are emails with one of the FBI agents that was instrumental in the Hillary Clinton case and instrumental in getting the case started on Trump, bashing Donald Trump, calling him a fucking idiot, and talking about the McCabe election, saying that those people were hillbillies because they didn't vote that woman in office. The money that McCabe's wife got was from Hillary Clinton person, Terry McAuliffe, governor of Virginia. Now, she's getting money from the Democratic Party. Does the money that this person get from the Democratic Party in any way influence the agent who's investigating Donald Trump, the person who Hillary Clinton is running in the election against, meaning essentially the person who's paying his wife? Of course, that answer is yes. There's no honest person that looks at that and says that the incentive there is for him to do things that would assist his wife. Meaning, yes, this investigation against Donald Trump is going to take a particular tenor. If you know that Stroix, the guy, I can't maybe pronounce his name wrong, Storks, was having an affair. And in having an affair with his lover, he's sending these sweet nothings about Donald Trump and the election itself. Now, new information came up showing, and I'm going to read it, but the information in a nutshell shows that they received information from Weiner's computer that when he was sending one of his emails or his text messages to the woman that he was having an affair with, that it noted that we have more information from Hillary Clinton's computer, meaning this information was on Anthony Weiner's computer. They knew this over like a month before they released the information to the public, meaning that they had that information for a month and they sat on that information. There's an investigation going on right now and trying to answer the question of, why did you sit on that information for that long? And were you sitting on that information because you wanted this information to come out after the election so that information would not impact the election at all? Is that what you were doing? Were you behaving in a way that was pushing, let me say it this way, were you behaving in a way that was assisting Hillary Clinton in this election? It's a fair question. Republicans are not crazy for asking this question. The Democrats act like, oh, you guys are conspiracy theorists. Those things are facts. Those things happen. Those things happen. That guy who was sending love messages to his girlfriend, the woman that was not his wife, talking about the election itself, talking about how much he disliked Donald Trump, had a hand in changing the language of the investigation into Hillary Clinton to make it a non-felony charge, meaning Hillary Clinton wasn't perp-walked, and he was instrumental in making sure that she wasn't. The same guy who's saying he dislikes Donald Trump. Now, is he saying that he dislikes Donald Trump because he's just making this shit up? No, he dislikes Donald Trump. Would somebody who disliked Donald Trump, who has a capacity to do something that would hurt Donald Trump, meaning keep Hillary Clinton out of jail, let's say that way, keeping her out of jail, to make sure she wasn't perp-walked? Yeah. If you're saying that you have a dog in a hunt, that there's somebody who you as a human being like, do you have an impetus to do something that assists the human being that you prefer to take that office? Yes. Be honest, yes. Be honest. Now, lefty media outlets engaged in this information have a problem. You guys are hitting your head on something that's problematic, and I don't think you realize you're hitting your head on something that's problematic. Lefties often believe that money in politics is a problem. If I am giving you cash and I'm giving you money, I'm giving you that cash and giving you money because I want a certain behavior. I want you to behave a particular way, and this money is influencing behavior. And lefties are right. These politicians are bought. I agree with that full stock to barrel. I also agree with it at the core kernel of it. Into this is personal self-interest. You're giving somebody an incentive to take a behavior because of their own personal self-interest. In this case, they're getting paid to take that behavior. Why all of a sudden does this break down when McCabe's wife is getting a ton of money to run into the race? Does McCabe have self-interest to assist his wife in getting elected? And if McCabe is getting that money, does McCabe lean in a particular direction because his wife is getting a certain amount of cash? And why all of a sudden does this process that we so fervently cling to in every other capacity break down in this particular regard? What about Strzok's? No, he wasn't necessarily getting money in the process, but certainly he had a dog in the hunt on who he would have preferred to win the election. Why does the process of self-interest break down in this particular capacity? Because you dislike Donald Trump? Is that why? Look, I'm going to show what Fox News came out with the Obama thing, and unfortunately, yes, again, it's Fox News. But what they're saying is right, and I'm showing this because they add in the opposition. Like, they show Fox News giving a commentary that Fox News believes that it's a strong commentary, and this guy from Judicial Watch is giving his opinion afterwards. What this ultimately boils down to is there are emails where the person says, brings Obama into the mix. Now, my question is the emails, or are the emails that are bringing Obama into the mix, is there enough there to get across this idea that Obama may have something to do with it? Personally, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. But if you float into the headspace of somebody who believes full lock, stock, and barrel that the administration was part of this process, you can kind of see it. Like, you can kind of see where it goes. If you start off with the premise that the President of the United States is head of the United States and management of the system itself, and I'm going to give this opinion, I'm going to show this opinion more than anything else, because I want to show testimony from Comey. The President of the United States is head of the United States. He picks who he wants to be his Attorney General. He chooses Loretta Lynch. Now, earlier on in the administration, the first session of the administration, Obama had Hillary Clinton as his Secretary of State. He chose her as Secretary of State. And I would argue that there was an agreement immediately after the election that Obama was going to help Hillary Clinton run in 2016, providing that he himself was still in office. Meaning he was going to give her a launching platform to run for office. I will make you Secretary of State. As Secretary of State, I'm going to give you my full-throated support and do what I can to make sure you get in that office. So if Joe Biden asks, hey, I'm Vice President, can I run? You'll get crushed, Joe. It's her turn. It's her turn. Fall in line. It's her turn. Now, it's very clear that who he wanted in that office. It is very clear that the President of the United States that chose Hillary Clinton for Secretary of State and that was going to support her in her run for president. It is very clear, and I would imagine Loretta Lynch understood that that same president that chose her for this office in no way wanted Hillary Clinton perp-walked. There's no way. There's no way. Now, if that means Loretta Lynch needs to take a larger hand in her agency, it sounds like she took a larger hand in her agency. Take a look at what Comey said. Let's see. Where is it? Right here.
The Attorney General had directed me not to call it an investigation, but instead to call it a matter, which confused me and concerned me.
You made a comment earlier about the Attorney General, previous Attorney General, asking you about the investigation on the Clinton emails, saying that you've been asked not to call it an investigation anymore, but to call it a matter. And you had said that confused you. Can you give us additional details on that?
Well, it concerned me because we were at the point where we had refused to confirm the existence, as we typically do, of an investigation for months. And it was getting to a place where that looked silly because the campaigns were talking about interacting with the FBI in the course of our work. The Clinton campaign at the time was using all kinds of euphemisms, security review, matters, things like that for what was going on. We were getting to a place where the Attorney General and I were both going to have to testify and talk publicly about it. And I wanted to know, was she going to authorize us to confirm we had an investigation? And she said, yes, but don't call it that, call it a matter. And I said, why would I do that? And she said, just call it a matter. And again, you look back in hindsight, you think, should I have resisted harder? I just said, all right, this isn't a hill worth dying on. And so I just said, okay, the press is going to completely ignore it. And that's what happened. When I said, we have opened a matter, they all reported the FBI has an investigation open. And so that concerned me because that language tracked the way the campaign was talking about the FBI's work, and that's concerning.
It gave the impression that the campaign was somehow using the same language as the FBI because you were handed the campaign language and told to be able to use the campaign language.
And again, I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but it gave the impression that the Attorney General was looking to align the way we talked about our work with the way a political campaign was describing the same activity, which was inaccurate. We had a criminal investigation open. As I've said before, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We had an investigation open at the time, and so that gave me a queasy feeling. At one point,
when lefties are making this case that, oh, the FBI wasn't politicized, that's politicized. That is literally being politicized. The parties are not the bus. Assuming for the moment, give me the euphemism, the parties are the bus, meaning the United States government being a bus. Yes, there's nothing to touch in normal situations, is a, this is kind of conceptual thing. It's somewhat of a legal fiction in the way we organize ourselves. It's a conceptual thing, the government. But none of these parties have access or rights to the bus. They drive the bus for a period of time based upon the public choosing somebody to take that office. The Democratic Party can go bust tomorrow. There will be something that will rise up to take its place. They are not one of those things that are necessary in the process. They are just part of the process. It is problematic when the offices of the United States government, meaning the Attorney General, is leaning on the FBI to talk about one of the campaigns, the Democratic campaign, in a particular way. That is literally what Comey is saying here is, my office, particularly within regards to optics, is being politicized. Now, it is not crazy for Republicans to ask, how far did that go? And did it go beyond just Comey being leaned on to align his rhetoric with the Hillary Clinton campaign? Later, we find out Comey really didn't even have an investigation. That Comey had made a decision before talking to Hillary Clinton in the matter. So, somewhat of a farce either way. That being said, the thing that came out today was this thing of putting a stamp on when Comey received the second emails, or when the second batch of emails were being received versus when that was being revealed. This is, unfortunately, Fox News talking about it. And one of the things that they bring up is Obama wants to know everything. Two lovers talking about, how horrible how horrible Donald Trump is. And in one of the messages brings up, hey, we got another batch of emails from Hillary Clinton. It's like you have private information that is top secret, in some cases, compartmentalized information on her computer. Some of this stuff wasn't even supposed to be taken off the computers themselves, and yet they're on her computer. In this case, Anthony Weiner's computer. Let's take a look at the conversation that they're having. They're making this point that in one of the commentaries, that A, this was given a month before Comey revealed it, that they had it. And B, there's conversation saying Obama wanted to know everything. Now, Republicans are making the argument that if Obama wanted to know everything, maybe Obama is in on this. Maybe wanting to know everything means that he's part of this process and he's pushing the agents, or the agents are in cahoots with him to do X, Y, Z. Look, personally, I think they're jumping the shark on that. We have no idea what that means. It could be, I want to know everything that's going on in this case. I would imagine if I was the president of the United States, I too would want to know everything that's going on with the person who may get locked up, meaning my Secretary of State. Is it possible that I, as president, also want to lean on my Attorney General, and that Attorney General leans on the intelligence? Maybe. Maybe. I don't think Republicans have enough information to make that case, but I don't think Democrats have enough information to make the case on Trump either. Let's take a look at Fox News and let's talk about it after.
Developments tonight on that memo at the House Intelligence Committee. Now, Republicans are responding to the Democrats' claim a little over an hour ago that they did not get the chance to review the latest memo sent to the White House, that it was tweaked and substantively changed before it went to the White House. So we've been talking about this memo. It reportedly involves surveillance of the Trump campaign. Here's what we're hearing tonight from a committee spokesperson. Quote, the committee minority is now complaining about minor edits to the memo, including grammatical fixes and 2 edits requested by the FBI and by the minority themselves. The vote to release the memo was absolutely procedurally sound and in accordance with House and committee rules. To suggest otherwise is a bizarre distraction from the abuses detailed in the memo, which the public will hopefully soon be able to read for themselves. To help us dig deeper in this whole thing, let's bring in Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch. Great to have you with us tonight.
Thank you, Sharon.
What do you make of this back and forth? Because, earlier today, it seemed like, all right, the White House is looking at this thing. Chief of Staff John Kelly has said it'll be quick. Sooner rather than later, people are going to go look at it. And now these allegations tonight by the ranking Democrat saying they altered this memo before they sent it to the White House. We didn't get a chance to see on it. It's different than what we voted on.
Then release both versions of the memo. This is just desperation. And what's unfortunate about things today, it's hard to distinguish who's more desperate, the FBI, who is attacking the House for trying to release the memo, at odds with the White House for supporting transparency on this corruption issue, or the House Democrats who are coming up with these last-minute objections to try to prevent the release of the memo, which all indications are will be released tomorrow, despite these rearguard maneuvers by the FBI, Justice Department, and their allies in the Democratic Party to keep the memo away from the American people.
Okay, so what we're hearing from this committee spokesperson tonight is saying essentially there were edits, but they were minor in nature. One was requested, I think, by the FBI, and others were requested by minority members. So is it completely disingenuous, the letter we got from Adam Schiff tonight, or is it a legitimate concern that he's worried that something went to the White House that was not what the committee considered and voted on?
Just to give a little feedback on this, because I kind of went into something else, and they're going to get around to the Obama thing, but right now they're politically sparring, let's say it that way. So Democrats wanted to release their memo. Donald Trump at this moment says, well, I mean, we're going to have to let the intelligence services make the determination on whether or not we release the Democrats' memo. Now, that's fucking insane. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it, I'm Donald Trump and I'm going to release this because this is going to clear my name. But the Democrats who are screaming and complaining that this information is somewhat stilted and is not necessarily a fair portrayal, I'm not going to release their memo. No, fuck it. Release it all. Release it all. Let the public make the determination. You should not have the secret information in the way that you have the secret information. Lefties should not be on board with the surveillance state in any capacity. In any capacity. If that's attacking Trump, if that's attacking somebody else, I don't care. They should not be on board with the surveillance state. It is sad that lefties have gotten to the point now of we hate Trump, and because we hate Trump, yay FBI, yay CIA. Do some more spying. Do some more secret FISA warrants. Yes. We the left, we love it. We the left, we love it. The Democrats are now complaining that some edits were made. Some edits were made. He's making the point that, look, release the memo. Just release the goddamn memo. Stop complaining about edits and all this other stuff. There might have been minor tweaks that the FBI made to it because they didn't want something said a particular way or something to reveal. On my kid, just release it. Just release it. Stop messing around with it. Stop dicking around with it. Get past the politics and just release it. You guys have been bitching and complaining that you have a memo and that you want the public to see the memo. Release the information.
I just don't think it's a legitimate concern. It's no surprise that you might have a grammatical fix as a memo is reviewed by multiple people. And if they made modest changes, it's not substantively changing the memo. And this can easily be reviewed and clarified between the chairman and Mr. Schiff. But Mr. Schiff isn't interested in playing ball. He's just thinking of last-minute objections to try to prevent the inevitable, which is the release of the memo as soon as tomorrow.
Now, let's talk about the new developments with Peter Strzok, the FBI agent who was involved with the Hillary Clinton email investigation, was later removed from the Mueller investigation into Russian collusion. And today this piece comes out that CNN reports they've seen emails that he was one of the ones who actually prepared or helped to draft this Comey letter right before the election that actually said, we're reopening some of this Hillary Clinton investigation. Folks are pointing to that saying, hey, if that's true, then this guy wasn't in the can for anybody. Here's what Vox says about this today. It says the development potentially throws a wrench in conservative theories that Strzok sought to undermine Trump in the run-up to the election, and that special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation is tainted by anti-Trump bias.
Well, this is a coordinated leak to try to take the wind out of the big news today, which was that the FBI, Andrew McCabe, and presumably Mr. Strzok, 4 weeks or 3 weeks before he wrote this memo, had information that there were Clinton emails on Weiner's laptop, and they waited almost a month to inform Congress. And
that's the important part that he's making. He's like, look, yeah, they may start an investigation, but they had that information for a month in advance. Like, the message between lovers, the woman that wasn't the guy's wife, made this point of, oh, we have more emails. Well, because he said that, you can pinpoint the date that the emails were received. We don't necessarily need the FBI's testimony. We have it in text message. The question became, why did it take a month to reveal that you had all of these emails for Weiner, and that some of the stuff, and man, you probably would have to go through the emails, but that there were actually classified information on Weiner's computer. That by itself is mind-blowing. But I'll let him keep going.
No one doubts that Peter Strzok was going through the motions in the Clinton investigation. I mean, Judicial Watch is sued for the FBI investigative documents. Strzok's name's all over them. But no one would suggest that the FBI investigation was anything other than a sham, given Comey's decision early on not to want to prosecute her. And it's not a conspiracy theory to review government texts where Mr. Strzok is talking about having an insurance policy in case President Trump won. And then early on in the year, he and Lisa Page are concerned about having the FBI go full bear against President or Hillary Clinton because they fear blowback if she becomes president. Writing a memo in a ministerial fashion doesn't necessarily clear him. And it's really concerning that there was this attempted slow walking of information about classified information on Weiner's laptop. Unbelievable development.
All right, you remain unconvinced. We'll put you down there.
Yeah, I'm unconvinced also. I'm unconvinced. Now, the guy is right, by the way. That guy's from Judicial Watch. Judicial Watch is a right-wing. They're to the right. They're to the right. But it doesn't necessarily mean that all their information is wrong. Oftentimes, they are suing, like freedom of information requests, in order to get information on various sources, usually to attack Democrats. Now, that being said, the new information, I'll just read it. Newly revealed text messages between FBI paramours Peter Strzok and Lisa Page include an exchange about preparing talking points for FBI Director James Comey to give to President Obama, who wanted to know everything we're doing. That's so vague. I mean, this is kind of my point why I said I don't think, whether Obama had something to do with it or not, it's kind of besides the point. You got to make the evidence. You have to make the case. Whether that's Russiagate or whether that's trying to tie Obama to this. I want all the information. It's not doing it. The message from Page to Strzok was among thousands of text messages between the lovers, reviewed by Fox News. The pair both worked for one of the special counsel's Robert Mueller's probe of alleged collusion between Trump campaign and Russia. Page wrote to Strzok September 2nd, 2016, about prepping Comey because the President of the United States wants to know everything we're doing. According to a newly released Senate report, this text raises questions about Obama's personal involvement in the Clinton email investigation. The text previously revealed Strzok and Page have shown their disdain for Republicans in general, as well as Trump calling him a fucking idiot, among other insults. He is a fucking idiot. Among the newly disclosed texts, Strzok called Virginians who voted against FBI Director Andrew McCabe's wife of State Senate ignorant hillbillies. Well, fuck you too. From Virginia, I don't think I voted for his wife. That text came to Strzok and Page on November 4th, 2015, the day after Jill McCabe lost her hotly contest to those hillbillies. Strzok said the result was disappointing, but look at the district map. Lawton is being gentrified, but it's still largely ignorant hillbillies. Good for her running, but curious if she's energized or never again. Senator Ron Wyden, Republican of Wisconsin, along with majority staff from State Homeland Security, Government Affairs Committee, is releasing the text along with a report titled The Clinton Email Scandal and the FBI's Investigation of It. The newly uncovered texts reveal a bit more about the timing of the discovery of hundreds of thousands of emails on former Congressman Anthony Weiner's laptop, ultimately leading to Comey's infamous letter to Congress just days before the 2016 presidential election. On September 2016, Strzok wrote to Page, got to call up to McCabe's earlier. Hundreds of thousands of emails turned up on Weiner's attorney to Southern District of New York. Includes a ton of material from spouse. Sending team up tomorrow to review. This would never end. According to Senate report, this text message raises questions about when the FBI learned the emails relevant to Hillary Clinton's email investigation on their laptop belonging to Weiner, the husband of Clinton's aide, Uma Abedin. It was a full month later, on October 28th, 2016, when Comey informed Congress that due to recent developments, the FBI was reopening its Clinton investigation. In connection with the unrelated case, the FBI has learned the existence of emails that appeared to be pertinent to the investigation. I am writing to inform you that the investigation team briefed me on this yesterday, Comey said at the time. The question becomes why Comey was only informed about this investigation on October 27th if Hillary Clinton's emails on Windows laptop was discovered October 28th at the latest. The other text show more examples of official opposition to Trump. On election day, Strux wrote, "Oh my God, this is fucking terrifying." Page replied, "Oh my God, I'm so depressed." Later that month, on November 13th, Page wrote, "I bought all the president's men. Figure I need to brush up on Watergate." Ooh, that right there sounds really bad because it makes it look like you were, in some kind of shady business. The next day, November 14th, 2016, Page wrote, "God, being here makes me angry. Lots of highfalutin national security talk. Meanwhile, we have our task ahead of us." Page meanings here is unclear, but according to the Senate report, coupled with Strzok's August 15 text about insurance policy, further investigation is warranted to find out what actions the two may have taken. The last text from Page to Strzok comes on June 23rd, 2017, when she wrote, "Please don't ever text me again." Was this the end of the lovers, shenanigans? I can kind of see it. It's one of those things where it's like, all of this stuff is being put by people who are hacks. All of these people who are involved in this have something to get out of the process. All of these people are going to cut this in the way that best suits their best interests. The problem I have with this is, you can see where Republicans are coming from. That's my problem with this. Like, I understand the argument that, wait a minute, Republicans are putting this out to take away from the Russia investigation. Yes, but the Russia investigation in and of itself was somewhat of a hack. Republicans have put out information, a bunch of hacks, to challenge an investigation from another bunch of hacks. Political corruption, just all around. Here's the thing. Whether Obama has something to do with this or not, it's hard to tell. And beyond being hard to tell, there's no way to know, at least not based on this. I mean, I know Republicans are putting this out saying, here's a bombshell text message. I guess they're looking at this in two fronts. One, they said Obama wants to know everything. People don't necessarily know what that means. That's somewhat vague, meaning, does that mean I want to know everything, what you guys are doing, and what you guys are doing is something shady in regards to trying to get Hillary Clinton off? Does it mean I want to know everything in regards to what you guys are doing in the sense of trying to get Trump, meaning these warrants and everything else? Or is it just, I just want to know what's going on in the investigation? You can see the problem with the vagueness here. And add to the vagueness both being hacks, meaning, yeah, it could be, I want to know everything that's going on with regards to framing Trump, getting Hillary Clinton off, or it could be, I just want to know everything that's going on. There's nobody to know. Fox News is cutting this in a way that's jumping the shark in the same way that Democrats have jumped the shark with the Trump stuff. Both of these parties are problematic. Both of these problems are problematic. The fact is, I don't know if any truth is to be found in any of this. Or at the very least, how can you put your fingers on the truth when everybody are sharks? The best that I can do is float in their perspective and see if the perspective makes logical sense. And yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest. If you're looking at this honestly, it does make sense that a president of the United States would not want his Secretary of State perp-walked, just from a party politics standpoint. It makes sense that if FBI agents are interacting with the case and they're interacting with the president, meaning after all, the president wants to know everything, he's interacting with the president in some way, it creates a link between what people are seeing as certain bias in the FBI, especially with the Hillary Clinton case, by the way. And if you have bias in the FBI with the Hillary Clinton case, does that automatically translate to being a bias against the person who's in the other party? I don't think they're crazy for making that point. In regards to what's true, who the fuck knows? All I know, all I'm certain of, these were two lovers. These people were in a relationship with one another. These people really disliked Donald Trump. These people were in the FBI. These people were instrumental in dealing with the case of letting Hillary Clinton off. And it's very possible that they were instrumental in the case of bringing a case against Donald Trump using a FISA court that, for the most part, would give you anything you want as long as you're breathing. If you're breathing, you're an agent 99.7% of the time, you'll get a warrant, meaning the warrant means nothing. The fact that the warrant exists doesn't mean anything. You can get a FISA warrant on a ham sandwich. So that's what you have. Political corruption over all of the process. All of them are corrupt. All of them are problematic. All of these guys are just bought. And congratulations, you have a surveillance state that's looking into all of it. The FBI right now is under investigation by the Congress. Democrats are screaming about an investigation to the president of Donald Trump. If I'm being honest, there needs to be an investigation into last year's election, in the primaries and in the election itself. None of that's going to take place. All of these guys are corrupt. All of these guys are problematic. And all of these guys have a vested interest in lying through their teeth in order to get their narrative of events out into the public. Whose narrative is going to win? Who the hell knows? Did Obama have something to do with it? Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? So I'm going to leave it at that. I know Republicans are trying to make this case. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Like, you need a little bit more than Obama saying, keep me apprised of what's taking place. I can believe, full-on believe, that Obama does not want Hillary Clinton locked up. I can full-on believe that Obama wants Hillary Clinton in that office. I can full-on believe that putting Loretta Lynch in that office gives what Obama wants through the Attorney General's office, meaning there doesn't need to be all that communication between Obama and Loretta Lynch. She understands what he wants. This is the guy that hired her. He put her on the job. The problem here with the Obama administration, the problem here with Loretta Lynch as Attorney General is she's leaning on Comey. That is Senate testimony saying that the Attorney General, a member of one party, the Democratic Party, was leaning on the FBI director to get the FBI director to talk like he was a member of their same party. You're contorting the governmental apparatus to be in favor of one of the politicians. Certainly, you can see that's problematic. Whether Obama did this or whether Loretta Lynch took it upon herself to do this, this is immensely problematic. You've let party politics make a determination on how the FBI behaves, at the very least how it sounds. And it's very possible that you've let party politics affect what the FBI does, meaning the cases that the FBI brings and the cases that the FBI fails to bring. Republicans are not crazy on this. This is a problem. I don't understand lefties on this. I don't understand lefties. This is one of those things where this is your wheelhouse. This idea of government overreach, the police state, mass surveillance. These are things that lefties typically dislike. What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? All right, guys. Whoever's on my Patreon thing, you guys have my phone number. Feel free to call. I am going to try to do live calls. Yeah, I'm going to try to do live calls. So let's get this out. And for the most part, we're talking about, do you believe that Obama has something to do with this? Honestly, and be honest. Now, and if you believe that, you need to back up your case. Now, I can make the case from the Republican standpoint of the potential, but I can't make the case. I can't make the leap to say he did definitively. The only thing you can do is saying, yes, he has a motive. He has an incentive to do something to make that work. And at the very least, Comey was pushed and pressured. The question is, how much pressure was Comey put under? At which point did Loretta Lynch stop? Did she just stop at that particular point? Or was the entire investigation slow-walked? We already know that Comey did not investigate Hillary Clinton. Or at the very least, had made his decision before talking to Hillary Clinton. And one more point on this. There is another hypothesis that I'm going to make. Is it possible, to any degree that's possible, that Comey got pissed off and disgruntled because Loretta Lynch tried to push him on the case? Meaning, look, I just want to have an investigation. I want to look into this. I want to be honest in regards to how I pursue the case. And the Attorney General leans on him with something, whatever she has over him. She leans on him to get him to function in that case a particular way. So he functions in that case a particular way. Is it possible that Comey gets disgruntled and gets angry and waits until the last minute in order to spring that information in order to hit Hillary Clinton in the knees? Loretta Lynch is forcing me to act and talk a particular way. I don't like this. I'm bothered by this. Hey, we have new information. I'm putting this information out at this particular time, only a few days before the election. Again, there's no way to prove that. There's no way even to support that. All we know is that he put information out at the last minute. It is very possible that they didn't want to put that information out at all, and that there were internal forces that pushed them to push that information out. We don't know. We don't know. This is the problem with this. We don't know. There are no honest actors in this process. There are no honest actors. Did Obama order the surveillance? That's a different question. Yes, right. That's a different question. I don't think he... Again, Fox News, I think, is going to make the case that he did. I think right-wingers are going to make the case that he did. They can't make that case. In the same way that Democrats, I don't think, can make the case that Trump colluded with Russia or that Russia had involvement. I have a hard time believing this. It's almost like saying the incentive by itself is the crime. Well, no, the incentive is not the crime. Doing it is the crime. Does Obama have an incentive to do it? Yes. Does Loretta Lynch have an incentive? Yes. Does any of these people who consider themselves Democrats who didn't like Donald Trump have an incentive? Yes. All of these people had an incentive, they had motive, and they had the capacity. Doesn't mean they did it. That's a separate question. And that's the question that we can't answer right now. Jenny Lynn, we've never had leftists in government, but we have had centrist liberals. We don't even have that anymore. Yeah, Jenny. Yeah. I mean, understand what's taking place. You have one party who's screaming that Russia hacked us. They're doing this for purely political ends. But there will be true believers who actually believe that Russia hacked us. You don't have anybody in Congress who's screaming about the intelligence or surveillance state. You have Republicans who would distrust FBI agents, but they're hacks. They just distrust them because they don't like the idea that they're going against Donald Trump. I'm talking about people who say, we have problems with the way we're doing surveillance in this country. And we don't like intelligence services and police forces that have the powers and the capabilities that they do over the citizenry, even if that citizenry is loathsome in the case of Donald Trump. That's just being honest. It's just being honest. If you want to get Donald Trump on something like a real estate thing, that's one thing. That's something where you can say, look, they're Russian oligarchs who are putting money in Trump campaign or Trump's hotels and you know, this kind of money laundering. Fair enough. Fair enough. At that point, you're not engaging another country into the craziness. But in this case, you've literally pulled in another country and the leader of that country purely in this kind of red baiting, foaming at the mouth, Russian, scare nonsense. If you're going to be that hard on it, you need to be able to show it. And up to this point, nobody can honestly say they've showed you anything. They've given assertions. They've just given assertions. Henry Wallace was a leftist. That's why FDR was forced to get rid of him as VP in favor of Truman. Wallace would have been president otherwise. B.B. Hammer, I don't think he got rid of him. If you remember, FDR was ill at the time. FDR was sick. In the second session, meaning his second 4 years, they tried to get rid of Wallace off the ticket. And FDR came down essentially saying, if Wallace is not on this ticket, neither am I. So that kind of guts that argument a little bit. Now, when they tried to do that the third time or the last time, FDR was ill. He was on his deathbed. I mean, he didn't necessarily have the oomph to go down and back up Wallace in that way. So I don't think he wanted to get rid of Wallace. I think it was one of those things where he just didn't have the oomph in him because of his illness to protect him. I think FDR didn't have to fight him. Oh yeah, Pete did. Yeah, I think he was ill. He was ill. People break down. People break down. SSS, Obama did what Nixon could not pull off. This is far bigger than Watergate. We don't know. That's my point. We don't know if this is Watergate. We don't know what this is. This is a bunch of people, a bunch of sharks, putting out information to try to grab hold of the narrative of the public. This is theater. This is theater. This is absolute theater. B.B. Hammer, my point is Wallace would have been in lefty. Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Wallace would have. Jay Scott, my point is don't even pay attention to the left-leaning media. Who cares? Watergate was a soft coup. Oh, you talking about because they took Nixon out that office? The FBI took Nixon out that office. What's his name? The guy who was loud and wrong at the top of his lungs. I can't think of his name to save my life. He has a channel now. He used to work with the Clintons. And he become this kind of rabid Clinton hater afterwards. He got locked up. Dick Morris. I think it's Dick Morris. Dick Morris talks about this, where he's talking about the FBI taking down Nixon. I disagree with him on it. If Nixon committed a crime, Nixon's ass needed to go to jail. If Trump commits a crime, if Hillary commits a crime, if they're committing political corruption and you're not doing anything about it, there's no bar at the door. There's no bar at the door. You need the FBI to be able to handle their cases, but the FBI needs to be an impartial institution. And I got to be honest, this makes them look really bad. This makes them look bad. James Bilai. Senator A bribes Senator B, who turns around and cuts a deal with Senator C to screw Senator A. Right. All of these guys are corrupt. DeMar J. Hoover is rolling in his dress and garters. Oh, talking bad at the dead, but it's good to talk bad at the dead because J. Hoover was a fucking asshole. That's the guy who tried to get Martin Luther King to kill himself, by the way. People hammered. Deep Throat was FBI Depp, who was supposed to inherit dictatorship. He had a grudge against Nixon for not appointing him. You know what's wild about that, too? They tried to kill or have a soft coup against FDR. When FDR moved to the left, in the way that he moved to the left, he had a bunch of plutocrats who tried to take FDR out. The guy who wrote the book, Smugly Bowes, was instrumental in preventing oligarchs from having a coup against FDR. It's fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing. Let's see. It looks like somebody was pissed off to me, but I'm not sure why. Here we are. A Fox News article is not a credible source. Let me see. Stop speculating. I don't become a crazy conspiracy theorist people don't take seriously. I am serious. I mean, ultimately, all of this is speculation. I guess that's my point. The Fox News article is literally based on information from... It's based on the text messages. Either the text messages exist or they don't. I take this as a news source at this particular point, not typically Fox News, because they either exist or they don't. And just to make a point, it's not just Fox News, dude. This is Business Insider. This is The Guardian. This is Mother Jones. This is Politico. And this is New York Post. It's not just Fox News. It's not just Fox News. Did I get a text message, yes or no? What did that text message say? This text message said this. Is that text message there where I can look at yes or no? Yes or no. The entire article is, there was this thing. Essentially, the entire article boils down to, did Obama have anything to do with it now that we've been able to find Obama in this process? I guess my point on this is, Fox News is bringing this up as an article. Fox News and right-wingers are going to be screaming about this. Did Obama have anything to do with this? My answer to this is, who the fuck knows? Regardless of what Fox News is going to say, regardless of the narrative they're going to push, regardless of any of that stuff. In the same way that Democrats are pushing the Russian narrative, don't fall in with believing that Obama has something to do with this purely because you dislike what Democrats are doing. That's my point in this. That's the whole reason why I asked the question of, is it true? Is it true? Yeah, dude. If you don't like articles or articles only coming from one source, I understand. Have a good day. Smedley Butler blew the whistle. Yes, he did, Jenny. Yes, he did. Barbara Mayer. So politicians are just allies with competing organized crime families. They're all dirty. That's my opinion. I watch more left-leaning media via indie channels talking about left-leaning news. So annoying. Jessica, yeah, I watch mostly left-leaning media, but sometimes if something comes up, what I found was that there's some indie media that bolsters Trump in order to fight Democrats. I always use this argument of, creating a Godzilla to take down Frankenstein. Not a good approach. It's not a good approach. He's not the good guy in this. Both of these people are bad guys. That's the point I want to make. There will be media that would say, now that they've seen Obama in this text message, that Obama has something to do with this, and they would try to make an argument for it. The name of this is Obama implicated in FBI Clinton scandal with new text messages. But is it legit? The whole question, is it legit, is answering that thing of, no, I don't think it's legit. You could stop watching because of me asking this question and because of me using Fox News as a source to pivot off. I understand. But no, I don't just watch one source of news. Let's see. James Bly. It's pretty crazy, but the good news is it all seems, at least, that younger people are waking up to the con. I hope so. I think it's because you can see what they say, and then you can see what they do. And you can play a clip from, like for instance, Democrats come out and say, the FBI is not politicized, that's crazy, that's insane, that's bonkers, Republicans are conspiracy theorists. And then you see James Comey, who they've lionized as being, the guy who's coming out saying, yes, I was pushed and they were trying to make me to talk like I was in the Hillary campaign. That looks like they've been politicized. That looks greatly like they've been politicized. So, there's that. I mean, it's almost like just because you don't take their particular narrative that, all of a sudden it's a conspiracy theory. The problem is there are times where the narrative has legs. There are times where Tucker Carlson is not wrong. I mean, most of the time he is. But there are times where he hits upon, it's like like a clock, being a wrong clock or a broken clock being right twice a day. Same thing. Same thing. BB Hammer, Q has become a religion. Yay, a manager blowback from his followers. Yeah, a major blowback from his followers. Q has become a religion. What? Pete D. Brahm, I agree. What did Brahm say? Jamal is absolutely right. Trump is not a good guy, and to put trust in him to bring down the system. Yeah. Yes, agreed. Yeah, he's not a good guy in those. Like, look, there's some other indie media, left-leaning outlets, and it feels like they do that. Like, it feels like we hate Democrats, we dislike Democrats, Democrats are a problem. All right, right there, you have my agreement. Donald Trump is this, Donald Trump is that. Now you're like, oh, you lost me. You lost me. That guy's a fucking monster. You lost me. Just because the other one's a monster doesn't mean that he's some good guy, he's some lion, or he's some guy who's fighting in your honor. He's lived his entire life focusing on his own needs, getting by what he wants just for himself. They are going to fuck over people left and right, including going after Social Security and Medicare. Donald Trump is murdering more people than Obama murdered, which is a fucking amazing accomplishment. He's going to deport more people at some point. Not yet. He's incompetent. I'm just saying, he's not the good guy. The Democrats were bad on this idea of climate change. Yes, Democrats are bad because they don't go far enough. Donald Trump just is fucking, it's not real. I mean, there's a certain level of incompetence associated with Trump in that office. He is not the good guy. He's not the good guy. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. I understand people feeling this need to pivot. Like, I'm going to ride this monster to attack this alligator. Just understand it's a monster. Just understand it's a fucking monster. Brahm, it is insane and really sad. I see all these ridiculous, gullible, and naive people excited about QAnon, and it's super depressing. What the fuck is QAnon? Not Trump, the entire GOP. Yeah, same. Bob Ramirez said, try some preparation H on that Trump derangement syndrome, Jamal. Jacqueline Thompson. Well, the beauty of it is, I would say, you guys, I know I take this stuff from this kind of, I put my stake in the ground on a humanistic perspective. That does not allow me a perfect opinion on things by any means. I could totally get shit wrong. But at the very least, you have something to judge me by. You have something to judge me by. If you think I am saying something that is running contrary to those ideas, I better give a damn good reason why I'm saying it. I don't think you've ever heard me bolstering Trump. I judge him like I judge everybody else. Meaning, the yardstick is always the same. Is this person helping or assisting in the aims that I want to accomplish? If that answer is no, then I don't like that person. If he kills the TPP, yay, he killed the TPP. If you're murdering people abroad, you're a fucking asshole, you're murdering people abroad. My yardstick is this kind of humanistic yardstick. You judge me by the yardstick. If he does stuff that I like, I'll say you like it. If he does stuff that I don't like, I'll say I don't like it. QAnon, it's the right intel psyop. Jonathan Melton. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Trump derangement syndrome is full on display. This tweets the man is completely unhinged. Yeah, I am. Okay. Jenny Lynn, I don't think the QAnon fervor is sad. I think they're getting interested in learning, hungry for info. Who knows if their curiosity might lead them. Holder versus ham sandwich 2020. Who would win? The ham sandwich. The ham sandwich. Ham sandwich. BB Hammer. I give Trump credit when he does something right. Yeah, I do. I try to. QAnon is a rabbit hole that will waste people's time. What is QAnon? Somebody call up. One of my patrons, call up, please, and give a basic explanation of what QAnon is. I've heard somebody mention this. Somebody mentioned this on Same Progressive show the other day, and I'm like, what the fuck is QAnon? The hell is QAnon? Martha Kate, gosh, guys, I'm so scared what's going to happen with DACA. I know it's off topic, but it's just so hard for me to concentrate on anything else. I'm so goddamn scared. Yeah, Marta, man, I feel for you, man. Like, my heart goes out to you. The reason why I do so many segments on the DACA things, because I think it's a big deal. Oftentimes, we interact with politics in this kind of abstract way. It's like we're people behind a glass that we know for the most part. Oftentimes, what we're talking about doesn't translate into actual action. In this very specific case, we're not people behind a glass. We are looking at something where there are real-world physical consequences for a lot of people in the United States due to failure by one of the parties. Now, one party has no interest in DACA because, let's be honest, their party, for the most part, the base of that party, you have a segment of that party that is on the racist side. Let's be honest. Call it a spade. Call it what it is. So that party doesn't really have a base that's all that wild up and enthused about doing anything about it. So you have the other party, Democratic Party, who screams about identity to the exclusion of everything else. That party gets the obligation to do something about it. That party gets the philosophical responsibility to do something about it. They created this mess when they created DACA in the first place. They understood it was politicized. Either these people vote for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump is going to come in, and we can use this issue to beat Donald Trump over the head with. Democrats don't get anything from DACA being accomplished. They do get political hit points for it to remain an issue. They're using it for political hit points as it to remain an issue. By the same token, you still have real people, literally 1 million people, who grew up in this country, who all they know of this country, who for all intents and purposes are American with the technicality of having been brought here by their parents at a very early age. Failure on DACA should not be allowed and permitted. It should not be allowed. And every day that they go along, the idea that the Senate Democrats took this off, yeah, Martin, I'm okay with you switching gears on this. The idea that you shut the government down. Shut it down. Brought it to a halt. Brought it to a screeching halt. I had this image in my head of Spider-Man holding the bus. Do you remember the Spider-Man put his gloves on? He's holding the bus, and Tobey Maguire's bringing that shit to a stop. In this glowing moment where, for once in a very long time, I'm out the country cheering the Democratic Party. Good job. Good job. You're standing for something. How does it feel? Does it feel good? What is this uncommon feeling that I have of actually trying to represent somebody other than my donors? 3 days. 3 fucking days. Before capitulation. Caving. Folding. He took my lunch money. He's having sex with my wife while I watch. Capitulation. Utter embarrassment. Emasculation. There are plenty of other words. The point I'm trying to get at is the thing that you were supposed to represent, that you cared enough to shut the government down over, within a few days, capitulated and caved in. Within a few days later, it was even off the table in fucking negotiations. It's amazing. The resistance. You're the embarrassment. Absolute embarrassment. And then they come up with a deal today, a sweeping deal. Guess what's not in the deal? DACA. Senate Democrats letting dreamers down. I don't see his call. Go ahead, call. It hung up. What? Let's try this again. Well, this is why this is a test case. So, hold on, Brom. Let's try it again. Let's see. I see the call. All right, Brom. It's coming through the computer. It's not coming through my thing. So let me try this. All right, go for it. This is why this is a test case. I wanted to do this before. Here we are. Let's see. How do I pick up? Oh, I don't know how to pick up. Give me one moment, guys. I'm trying to figure out how to pick up. All right, guys. Hold on. Brom, 1 second. To my credit, I did say this was going to be a test case. I can hear it. I just don't see it. I don't see what it calls. Oh, here we are. Hello, can you hear me, Brian?
Hello.
Yes, I
Hey,
can hear
Jamal.
you. There you are. All right.
Hey, how's it going?
It is going fine. Now, can the people who are live hear Brahm? Somebody give me a yes or
I
no. Somebody give me a yes or no. Come on, come on, come on.
There's a slight delay.
Okay. That's true. Yeah, there's a light delay in it. All right. There we go. Good. So they're getting the call. Perfect. All right. So, what is QAnon? First, how you doing, Brahm?
I don't know anything about QAnon. What I want to talk about was this whole Obama thing.
Oh, go for it. Go for
I
it.
think,
Give me your
I think
point.
I think the whole damn thing is a distraction.
It is. I agree.
We're now in a permanent conflict with Syria. Why isn't that getting any traction? That is much more important
Agreed.
than this other crap.
You saw the thing where the Russians' plane was shot down using American
Right.
armaments.
Yeah.
And the wild part about that is
why isn't
that's a big deal. I mean, you're talking about a goddamn war.
huge? Yeah.
I agree, man. But
Yeah,
that's the wild part about it. Like, you could say, well, wait a minute. Why aren't we talking about the bombing in Syria? Why aren't we talking about income inequality? Why aren't we talking about
Right.
the woman who was kicked out of the hospital because she didn't have insurance? Like, there's so many big real stories. Why aren't we talking about the idea of climate change, where these guys are screaming at the top of their lungs that the world is coming to an end? It's
Right.
There's so many things that they could talk about. And I guess my annoyance with this is that if you look at CNN's website, it's all Trump. If you look at Young Turks, it's all Trump. Everywhere you go, it's all Trump. The other stuff apparently is not important.
And it should be of the utmost importance, because this is the stuff that's actually affecting us and is going to have an enormous impact on our future, and we're not discussing it. Instead, we're focusing on these
Ridiculous
minuscule
issues.
dramas. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You know, do you believe, like I believe, that these dramas are purely manufactured, purely for us? Like, and when I say manufactured, I don't mean that it's something that's made, like somebody's making it up. I just mean that there is an awareness politically, from the political standpoint, that if you don't have petty dramas to engage yourself in and engage your audience in, meaning crowds. So Fox News has this crowd, MSNBC has this crowd. You have people, both sides, your football teams, there's parties, that you would actually have to deal with real issues. Meaning people would bring up real issues, and those real issues would adversely affect the bank accounts of the donors to those parties.
Right.
So it's like
absolutely.
It's like
so they keep us distracted in order to prevent them from preventing our representatives from actually doing something to represent us. That's the whole point. Keep us completely distracted by this other crap so that they don't have to actually do their damn job.
So how do the public, how does John Q. Public, I usually use Bob. I use Bob because of Bob Barker. I have this image in my head of Bob Barker getting punched in the face on, what's that show? Happy Gilmore. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a scene of Bob Barker getting into a fight with, what's his name? Anyway. So, it's you can allow them to not do their jobs because this other stuff is up in the way. Because you can imagine, there's an interview with Nomika Kantz, and I think her name is Gloria Steinem. And both are Democrats, both, Democratic functionaries. And in the conversation, they get to this idea or this thing of money in politics. And there's a notable silence when they hit this issue of, that's a problem. But why is that a problem? It's a problem because they're being bought. Now, if you're being bought, and the thing that you can't say, like the elephant in the room that you can never bring up, is this issue of class. What do you talk about? I would argue you talk about everything else except class. And if you can chum up the works with some ridiculousness of Trump and Russia, you gum up the works with Trump and Russia. We've talked about this for a year. Like, this is literally going on for a year. It's fucking amazing.
And every single one of our other issues basically comes down to class.
Yes.
The one thing they don't want to talk about.
One thing they don't want to talk about. You heard that no-net guy get on TV talking about, shut up about this class stuff.
Right.
I mean, he was on MSNBC, the Libby channel. This guy screaming, talking about he called Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Yeah, man, a lot of the stuff I think boils down to class. When people look at this, I understand that people take their sides. It's like this guy, like the guy who left, the guy who got mad that it was a Fox News source. Missing the point that I was asking the question, did Obama have anything to do with this, yes or no? Coming down with the answer of there's no way to know. All of this, it's just
Right.
petty dramas, and it's like
Right.
these things that the news bring up and talk about, and because it's the mainstream news and they have millions of dollars to kind of put behind it, people look at attention to it just because it's there, as if it's actually the most important thing to talk about. It's we destroyed a country. Like Libya has open air slave markets. Put it in context. Libya has
Right.
open air slave markets
Yeah.
based on what we did. We absolutely destroyed and obliterated a country. Now, the conversation that we're having here is about whether Russia hacked an election. I mean, not even an election, hacked Hillary Clinton's and the DNC's emails and released factually true information showing that the DNC cheated Bernie Sanders.
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. Put it in context, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Dude, thank you for calling in.
It's bizarre.
I
Yep.
absolutely
You got it,
appreciate
brother.
your call in.
Okay. Have a good one. Thanks,
You
Jamal.
too, guys. All right, we're getting this working. Perfect. Perfect. I was looking for the phone call. I thought it was going to be redirected to my regular phone, and instead it was redirected to the Google Mail. So good. That's awesome. And with the extra benefit that it can play through the speakers. Fucking A. BB Hammer, Obama was black, so it's okay. That's the attitude of most politicians. There's a history class system in the black community. So yes or no? Brom, fucking awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate you calling in. BB Hammer, yes or no? So let's be fair. That is true to some degree. Some people would look at the Obama administration and say he's black, so, so certain things he would get a pass on. Fair enough. That's true. Now, the pass is coming from not, how can I say this? Because people do this for different reasons. So Al Sharpton would make the case, I would not criticize Obama, even if Obama did something wrong. So if Obama is murdering civilians, I'm not really going to criticize Obama for this because he's a black president, et cetera. So there's that. Whether that's purely politics or whether that's race, you be the judge. I lean more towards the side that's probably more about race. Obama wears his race in the same way someone would use some other advantage. Meaning whether you're black, Hispanic, gay, whatever, you use the attributes in order to get elected in the way that you can use the attributes to get elected while you're trying to minimize the negative consequences of the attributes that you exude. So for Obama, yeah, he's African American. He's going to use the fact that he's African American to do what he has to do, while at the same time being aware that there's certain negatives associated with him being African American. Don't be mistaken, however, to believe that just because of his identity, that he shares your worldview or your understanding or even your interests. Those are very different things. People get massively distracted by that because Democrats bash that particular point over and over again, completely missing the economic part. So what if he's black? If he ends up increasing income inequality? If he ends up not doing anything for your particular community? And personally, I'm in the camp of believing that economics is far more important than this issue of identity. You can hate my guts. You can hate my guts completely. If I am economically free, meaning if I have the resources to do what I need to do, I never have to deal with you. You go your way, I go mine. In politics, however, we're on the same page because both of us are voting for our own economic self-interest. Identity is a problem. It creates divisions. It definitely creates divisions. After such extensive duping with the Obama brand, here's the thing. I think people wanted him to be successful. Honestly, when he talked about hope and change, I think people really wanted and believed in that idea of hope and change. He had, whatever you want to say about him, his capacity to energize and to do the campaign thing is unparalleled. I mean, the man is fucking amazing at it. He sings, he croons, he has a particular demeanor about himself. He has this kind of Obama gravity about him, meaning he looks like a president. He feels like a president, if that makes sense. I know that sounds weird, but there's a gravity associated with people who look and act certain presidential. He has it. The problem is when he got in office. And it's like, yes, this guy looks presidential, sounds presidential. This guy's going to be the new FDR. And the guy was Ronald Reagan. You can understand people feeling put off by that. You can understand people being put off by that. Then they give him a second term, and they're like, okay, he's going to rip the chains off. He doesn't have to worry about the angry black man thing. He doesn't have to worry about this other stuff. He's going to rip the chains off. He's going to be that progressive president that we heard in the... No. What you got the first year is what you got the second year. Not so much. Brom, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Guys, I appreciate your super cash. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. You guys, you have no idea how much you guys help the show, particularly with this idea of expanding the show. So thank you, Brom. Thank you. Let's see. Lorms. Obama drinking the water was an ultimate downfall for the man. You know what's wild, though? Republicans are in the same boat. They're in the same boat with Trump. They're in hope and change, make America great, all those things were cut for the audience. The audience that Trump was there for was, well, the Republican Party. People were in the party. And in the same way that lefties were disenchanted with what Democrats have done, the right wing was also. I saw this thing where Ted Cruz was talking to an audience, and the audience was like full on the Trump Kool-Aid. Oh, you're fake, you're phony, you're full of it. And to their credit, yeah, he was a fake and a phony and full of it. And Trump is, and that's what they lost. They was like, oh, yeah, you guys are drinking the Kool-Aid. You guys are drinking the Kool-Aid. You believe that this guy running in the Republican Party is going to raise the minimum wage. You believe that this guy in the Republican Party is going to increase health care. And what you realize was that all of the talk that Republicans had, meaning in office, saying that the public doesn't want an increased minimum wage, that the public, for some reason, wants to get rid of Social Security, Medicare. The public doesn't want that at all. That's what their donors want. They're repeating what their donors want. The key point to this is, though, Republicans went for Donald Trump. And Donald Trump was essentially saying all those things. Health care, increase the minimum wage. This is what he was saying on his campaign trail. He was moving to the left. If Republicans were these right-wing nut jobs, why on earth are they going to support the guy who was running to the left? Why? Why does Bernie Sanders do so well in West Virginia and all this other stuff? When you get rid of identity as being your main talking point and you focus on this idea of economics, which make America great again, all this other stuff, yes, there were, what are those things called? There were certain things in Trump's campaign, like dog whistles. Yes, you heard me before. I'm shocked that the media, months and months later, are saying, we think the president might be racist. I'm saying that shit day one. It was like, he's calling Mexicans and rapists and drug dealers. Mexicans, rapists, and drug dealers. So I had a perspective of Trump. That being said, look, I guess my point is, we are, oh man, I lost track of my thoughts. Fuck. Lost track of my thoughts. Obama's worst president, in my opinion, for all he did, and especially all he didn't do. He's not the worst president. No, maybe for what he didn't do. I know what I was saying. We have this utmost want for him to be an amazing president. So understand, this is not where you had all these lefties who was just downing the guy. We wanted him to live up to the expectations that he gave when he's talking about this hope and change and all this other stuff. A right-wing healthcare plan is not change. It's not change. He wasn't the worst, and that's not honest at all. I mean, you can go with Reagan, for that matter. Reaganomics. Reagan created a sharp shift in American policy with regards to taxes, the amount of money that we were taxing people. And it wasn't necessarily a good one. Reagan did not take down on the Soviet Union. That's fucking ridiculous. Just because something took place during an American administration doesn't mean that America had a hand in doing that particular thing. You can even go with Clinton in this case. This idea of destroying Glass-Steagall. I mean, that's far worse than anything Obama's ever did in that office. Just NAFTA. I mean, the prison population. What's the other thing? Telecommunications. Like, you can rattle those things off with Bill Clinton. I would say those things were worse than Obama. I don't think he's the worst. I think people's issues with Obama has more to do with what he didn't do, not necessarily what he did. I think it's what he didn't do. The hope and the promise versus what he actually did. Jamal, Obama had a historic opportunity to be a transformative president. He decided to be mediocre. Yes, unfortunately, yeah. Yeah. When you go to Wall Street, the country is angry and pissed off. And they want to take a pound of flesh from the people who they would think responsible for them being pissed off to some degree. And Obama goes out and says, I'm standing between you and the pitchforks. What? What? What do you mean you're standing between Wall Street, the plutocrats, and the pitchforks? You've chosen your side. You've chosen your side. At that point, we understand whose side you're on. Later on, we find in the emails that Citigroup chose who was going to be in Obama's administration. Now, does getting massive amounts of cash, does it having an influence. Does getting all of this money from these Wall Street people, these Wall Street types, influence Obama's decision to not go after Wall Street? Yeah, I think so. I would say yes. PT, what Obama didn't do concerning Standing Rock exposed. Oh, man, yeah. Oh, I had forgot all about that one. Standing Rock. It's like it's Thanksgiving, and you have people getting their turkeys. Like the president of the United States pardons a turkey every year on Thanksgiving. And while he's pardoning a turkey, there are real Native Americans getting their heads bashed in, trying to protect their land. Land that, mind you, is theirs by decree, by treaty. And the Obama administration sits idly by and says nothing. Actually, I'm sorry, he didn't say nothing. He says, what he said, we're keeping an eye on it. I'm going to let it play out. We'll just let that play out. Let it play out. Reagan didn't have the potential for change our country like Obama. No, he did. I guess what I'm saying is, yes, he has this magnificent potential for change because people were looking and expecting change. Fucking, he's a black president. I mean, you can look at him and tell he's fundamentally different. The question becomes, what is that change going to be? And when you have the capacity for that change, you better use it. You have the House and the Senate and the presidency. You better use it. And unfortunately, not so much. Not so much. Buster Peak, if Trump destroyed America, if Trump doesn't destroy an African nation, presidency will be considered more successful than Obama. If he doesn't destroy an African nation, well, too bad. He is destroying African nations. He's up the kill rate. So there's that. Anybody else want to call in? Let's see. I don't see anybody else, and I don't see anyone in the thing. Yeah, guys, feel free to call in. Feel free. Oh, by the way, not everybody likes this. But, what is this? Nancy Pelosi's speech, possibly the longest in House history, pressed for immigration action, but underscored a lack of leverage. That's great. That's great. All right, so let me see. All right, so I'll show this. Nancy Pelosi's possibly the longest speech in House history pressed for immigration action, but underscored her lack of leverage. The House Minority Leader stood for more than 8 hours reading multiple personal stories from dreamers and citing Bible passages in a speech that demonstrated that Democrats lacked the leverage and insisted they would have spending showdowns with Republicans. Jeremy Scott, what's going on, man?
What's going on, brother?
Not too much. So, what do you want to talk about? So,
I know.
Earlier we were talking
now,
about...
I was going to...
No, go for it.
Go ahead. No, I was going to try to give you a kind of a quick synopsis on the QAnon stuff.
Yes. Explain it.
But before that, I wanted to call and just let you know I give you a lot of shit and a hard time, but I love the show, and I love all the fellow chat members and everybody that comes to this channel. I think I really do actually learn a lot from you, especially from the other chat members. So it's a great community you built. So keep it up.
Very cool,
but,
man. Thank you. I mean, somebody said it's the smartest chat in the business because you have all these different opinions and people are allowed to have their opinion. I got to be honest, I like that. So I haven't seen many other chats, so I don't necessarily know what to expect in regards to how chats form. But in this chat, I've noticed there was a tendency to allow people to speak their piece and not being heavy-handed in regards to forcing an opinion. Like, so if somebody says, I completely dislike X, they don't necessarily say, you're a fucking asshole because you dislike X. They may go after him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Even me.
Yeah,
I mean, they even go after me. So fair enough.
And so I've been around other chat rooms, and I mean, what you'll find is, you'll get a lot of pushback or people will automatically shut you down. But I think this chat room, people are willing to hear your arguments and take it into consideration versus just saying you're a troll or you're a Trump supporter or you're a Hillbot, et cetera, et cetera. So it does get tiring, but I think what you're building this community is open-minded. But as far as QAnon, I don't know how it originated, but think of QAnon as, when all those like rogue Twitter accounts started showing up, like the rogue White House and the rogue NSA. QAnon is essentially the same thing, and it started on 4chan. and or Reddit, 4chan or Reddit. But basically, it started out as just somebody posting as if they were either within the White House or closely connected to the White House. And some people have gone as far as to say that it's actually Trump posting under the surname QAnon.
It could,
yeah, so
man, that's amazing.
I mean, and so what happens is the QAnon posts are so cryptic and so vague that you can literally, the user or the reader can literally kind of apply whatever kind of interpretation of that post they want to that original QAnon post. So, for example, there was a QAnon post that said like the truth is neither real or false or something, and then it had 3 dots. And that same day, Trump posted something. I think he was in Singapore. He posted a tweet, but it ended with 3 dots.
Oh God!
So people
like,
thought
that's evidence that's Trump.
Exactly. But here's the problem.
Oh, that's awesome.
Trump was in Singapore, so when the QAnon post was posted, it looked like the timestamp was before Trump's tweet, but actually Trump was 13 hours ahead. So it was a time frame issue. So Trump's tweet came out before the QAnon post.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
I see.
So there's a lot of games being played with the QAnon post. In addition, I can go on to Reddit and post as QAnon, or 4chan and post as QAnon. You can go on to QAnon and post as QAnon. So it's like it's just so arbitrary.
There's no substance.
But the problem is, it's a lot of the posts are so arbitrary and random that people can kind of just develop their own narrative around what it means.
Oh, I see.
And so that's why read into it however they want. And so, but the problem is if what the QAnon post, if what you think that QAnon post doesn't come true, the problem is the user will just say, "Oh, I misread it. I didn't understand it."
It's like
you know
a
what I
Bible
mean?
verse.
So it's kind of exactly. So it's problematic, but I think it's definitely one of those kind of conspiracy theory type of rabbit holes, and
that is
however
fascinating.
far you want to go down that. Yeah, it's pretty weird,
So
but it's taken a lot of.
Has anything been said where it's like this totally relates to what's going on, and this is some amazing information? Why has it captured people so much? Like, what's the thing that allows? Because look, any random person can post any random thing. Why this? Why is this the thing where people have latched onto and like, oh my God, this guy is amazing? Why this?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's part of the kind of just people are engaged for whatever reason. I think a lot of the people that do actively follow it are more kind of right leaning. So these are the kind of people that think Trump is playing like the 12-beat chess. But I think but it's another one of those things where people just kind of want information and want to kind of understand the deep state and like the secret societies and who's doing what. So it kind of captures people that way.
Yeah.
And then once you're down the rabbit hole, I mean, you know how that works. It's just you're just searching at that point. So
I wish. Yeah, I guess it's people. I think look at the world and they think to themselves, "Why is this world fucked up in the way that the world is fucked up?" And I think they look for reasons. And I think sometimes in looking for those reasons, they construct reasons. It's like the world shouldn't be this way. People wouldn't behave this way if XYZ wasn't the case. And I got to be honest. I think to some degree, yeah, you may have people who are functioning to advance their aims. But I think self-interest can make an interesting game in relation to getting a similar thing. Like, I don't necessarily think you need 1 or 2 people moving the pieces. I think a bunch of people working in their own self-interest, trying to maximize their own profits, doing things that fuck others over for their own best interest. I think you can get the same system. QAnon. I'm gonna have to look it up to see what's going on with that. I've heard this mentioned a few times now. So
what's the deal going forward? How often are you going to have these call-in shows? Because we still have to have we still have to have our debate about the Never Trump. Because I was a Never Trumper guy, so I get called the pro Hillary people, pro Hillary bot, but I was a Never Trumper. So I know I'm the abusive spouse in your analogy.
Yeah,
at some point,
the abused spouse.
I'm the abused spouse.
You're the abused spouse. Okay, so
Yeah.
explain to me in the audience. Explain to me in the audience why never Trump, as opposed, because let me ask you this: what are the things that you want to get out of your political system itself? Because do you consider yourself a Democrat? Let's start there. Do you consider yourself a Democrat? Because you can be never Trump and still say, I just, going to Bob in order to fight, going to Godzilla in order to fight King Kong. Are you, and do you consider yourself a Democrat?
When I first started following you, I would have said I was like a Democrat.
Okay.
Now I'm questioning where I stand as far as that goes.
You're a wayward
But I was
Democrat.
always never. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm trying to find a home. But I was never. I was always never Trump.
Now, to be fair to you,
I
think Trump is a horrible human being. Like, so I don't.
Right.
I don't. I completely understand where you're coming from. Like this thing of, oh my God, this guy's a maniac. This guy cannot. We cannot tolerate this guy in office.
Yep.
But would you agree with me that being never Trump and being willing to go to Hillary Clinton, despite her flaws, saying, I understand that she has all these flaws, but Donald Trump is horrible, so I'm just going to go with what I got. That is being somewhat complicit to bad behavior. Is that fair? Like, is it fair?
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get your point. I get it. So trust me. So that's one of the things that I'm dealing with, and I think a lot of people kind of are still kind of reflecting on what happened in 2016.
Grappling
We're
with
trying to justify, still grappling with it.
And look, to be honest, it was difficult for me too. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
I during the time of the election of 2016, I was like, oh my God, she cheated Bernie Sanders. That was my starting point. She cheated Bernie Sanders. And then it became this thing of, how do you cheat somebody and get a pass on that? Like, how do I turn around and say, yes, I believe that you cheated me, but yes, I'm going to co-sign that cheating by supporting the candidate. That was the first point. And the second point ended up being, just give me a reason to vote for you. Like, I believe Donald Trump is a maniac also. Give me something. Like, give me some reason, some justification that I can ignore my conscience, that I can ignore my good sense, and I can make that vote. And I got to be honest, the entire race, she ran in this tone deaf, it's my
horrible.
turn.
It was horrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can understand.
I mean,
go ahead.
Honestly, my only problem with like people that I don't know. I guess my only problem. I mean, I understand why you did it, what you did, and I understand why people felt that way. So I guess it really only comes down to like people who did that in 3 states. So like Wisconsin, Ohio. I forgot the third one.
It was one more.
I understand that point of view.
The wild part about it, though, is she should have won Wisconsin. She should have won those other states.
She should have. It shouldn't have been close.
It shouldn't have been close.
If she would have ran a good campaign, and she was horrible. She was a horrible candidate.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So I was actually thinking about this the other day. So here's my question to you for 2020.
Go for it.
Yep. And I can take it off air because you may want to just kind of delve into it a little bit more.
No,
but I know a lot of I get the point of leaving the abusive husband or whatever. But so in 2020, if say Bernie runs in the primaries, he's cheated.
Bernie
there's no real. Every other one is a corporate Democrat.
Right.
So we can't co-sign for that. I agree. But so even if it's Cory Booker 2020 versus Donald Trump 2020, and Donald Trump, instead of giving his nationalism, like make America great again, if Trump was literally on the stumping ground saying, we already made America great again. What we're gonna do next is cut Social Security, cut Medicaid, cut Medicare, cut all these social programs. If he was literally on that stump saying that in 2020, would you vote for Cory Booker? Or would you still say fuck the Democrats?
Right,
if Trump was literally saying, if he was literally saying, I'm going after all these social programs.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're going to do anyway.
They're going to do this in this term. They're not going to wait for the second term. Let me ask you this. Now, say, for example, I'm going to answer your question off air, but I'm going to get you on this before you get off air. because I've asked this question
Okay.
before, and no one likes this question, even though I think this question is perfectly fair. Say, for example, Hillary Clinton wins in 2016. Hillary Clinton wins. People are with her. She wins. And some of the people that she had on her staff were on record of saying they wanted to privatize Social Security. So and Bill Clinton was on record going to privatize Social Security. If it wasn't for that blowjob, he would have privatized Social Security. He had a deal worked out with Newt Gingrich. No, seriously, real talk.
No,
now,
I know, yeah.
Now, say, for example, Hillary Clinton privatizes Social Security. She comes up with some reason to privatize it. She goes back on her word on the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and she implements it. She comes out and says, I've reworked it. Trust me, I've reworked it. And so it is no longer a danger. It is no longer a problem. And so the Trans-Pacific Partnership has been passed. She puts troops in Syria, meaning there's a missile defense shield in Syria, and she's ingratiated the United States into a larger conflict in Syria. We are in a hostile or more hostile conflict with the Russian government, meaning if the United States shoots down a Russian jet, there would be a nuclear war with Russia and China. Understand what I'm saying? This is real talk. And mind you, before you say that's not possible, we've already shot down a Russian jet, or they've shot down using weapons that we ourselves gave those rebels, the terrorists. If that takes place in 2016, and Hillary Clinton is running against Donald Trump, again, for whatever reason, let's say Ted Cruz, or let's say she runs against Donald Trump again. Is it still never Trump? Is the argument still the same? She's blown out everything that she's ever told you. She's made it worse in every situation, particularly from the standpoint of a Democrat, meaning she's moved the goalposts further to the right. Do you still, after that situation in 2020, say, okay, I'm going to vote Hillary Clinton, knowing that she's going back on everything that she said that you yourself wanted? Do you still vote for Hillary Clinton?
It's Hillary Clinton versus like a
Donald
gross
Trump.
Ted Cruz?
That says Donald Trump. See, if Ted Cruz is so gross, I don't want to use Ted Cruz. I'm going to use Donald Trump. Are you still never Trump, even after she blow past and lies through all of these things? Do you give her, okay, I'm going to be complicit and you're going to get my vote again, despite doing all of these things that you said you weren't going to do and that I didn't like you doing in the first place?
If she was that gross.
It's not an easy question, is it? It's like it's a Hobbs choice.
I understand. It's I don't know. After 2016, 2020, I get the protest vote more. So 2020, I would, if running into the primaries, if we can't push her and she's still just saying her dumb shit.
They would never run a primaries against Hillary Clinton. They would never. Democrats would never run a primary against their person. Like there's no.
But that assumes that the progressive movement is going to die.
No, it assumes that Democrats are going to howl and say you guys are fucking up our chances of winning.
They can't.
And half of them is going to go to sleep. Half Democrats are going to go to sleep. Meaning the half of the Democrats that you would get that are in this quote unquote make resistance and they're worth her and all this. Those people are not going to support you.
But the other half is going to be raising hell.
The other half is going to be raising hell.
I think she's going to be. I think they're gonna feel some type of conflict. But if that was the case in 2020 and she was that gross and she's running against Trump, in 2020 I would probably do a protest vote. I would probably vote third party. Okay. I couldn't co-sign on that.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. So there is a limit. There is a point where you're like, okay, this drug addict, this heroin drug addict is not getting any better with me in this process.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I will answer your question off air. And I totally appreciate you calling in, man. And look, I appreciate the commentary, particularly if it's against something that I'm going with. I don't consider people trolls unless they're being abusive to other people. If they're just disagreeing with me, they're not a troll. They're just promoting the conversation. So no, dude, I appreciate you, man. You totally appreciate it. I'm gonna answer that question. All right, man.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So if Donald Trump in 2020 is on the campaign trail saying, I'm going to destroy Social Security, I am going to destroy Medicare, I am going to destroy all of these services, God damn it, I'm going to do it all, we're going to take it away. Now, this question is immensely believable. This is something that they're trying to do now, so it's not necessarily insane that they're going to do it later. Donald Trump promised that he wasn't going to do it, but that doesn't mean anything. It's still Donald Trump. Donald Trump lies as easily as Donald Trump breathes. And regardless of what Donald Trump wants, Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, if they get the opportunity, they will do it. They would do it. Now, there are two assumptions here. The first assumption is Democrats lose the House and the Senate in the next election, meaning they don't win the House and the Senate. So that's the first question. That's the first point. And the second point is also they either have a bad race in 2020. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it all depends on 2018 whether they can get to do that in this particular realm. If Trump wins in a blowout, meaning if those Democrats lose, then yeah, they would have the power to pull off whatever they wanted to do for Social Security, Medicare. Hell, let's add in abortion. Let's put it in the wish list. I don't know, man. I'm stuck with a problem here. They've been screaming Trump and Russia the entire time. At no point did they deal with the issues that are affecting them, meaning the issues of the party that bug lefties. This idea that they are subservient to their owners. Do I give them credit? It's like, do I pay them for not attending to their business? Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't want to lie because I don't necessarily know the answer to that question. I got to be honest, I don't know. And I know that's a cop-out, but I don't know. Let me explain my thought process, though. I don't want to pay them for something that I don't want to pay them for something that they didn't do. I don't want to pay the garbage man if he didn't take the garbage. I don't want to pay the painter if he didn't paint the picture. And in this case, it feels like they're using the batshit crazy, rabid nature of Republicans to pivot off in order to get in office. If they get in office using this method, they can do anything in that office. You're talking about being scared to privatize Social Security. You understand that the Democratic Party could privatize Social Security. The media will look at this and say, hey, this is a bipartisan agreement between these two things. Just because you put a Democrat in office doesn't mean Social Security is safe. Obama cut Medicare. It doesn't mean it's safe. He was willing to take cuts to Social Security. Just because you put a Democrat in that office doesn't mean it's safe. It doesn't. Now, that being said, yes, Republicans are rabid on this. And Republicans will try to take that away. They will try to make cuts to Social Security and Medicare in this term. You don't even have to wait to 2020. The question is, will Donald Trump allow it? And Donald Trump will probably allow it because it's Donald Trump. I don't know, man. I don't know. If I'm looking at it, it depends on my frame of mind. So if I'm in a frame of mind of it takes something major in order to get the public to wake up, then it's very possible that the fact that they take Social Security and Medicare may be the thing that gets the public to wake up. In which case, I might be in the camp of, yes, it's going to take some pain in order to change people's minds. That sounds bad, but I don't necessarily know another way of getting people involved in the process. If I'm in the camp of, or if I'm in a frame of mind of, oh my God, he's too fucking gross, and I need a Bulworth in order to stop him from doing this. In that frame of mind, yes, I would be more inclined to vote for Democrats, at least in the Senate and the House. The problem with this is there's not going to be a situation where Donald Trump wins and or Hillary Clinton wins and loses the other, or whoever is Cory Booker wins, or Donald Trump beats Cory Booker, but the House and the Senate stays the Democrats. If Donald Trump wins the presidency, he's also going to win a Republican House and a Republican Senate. So, that's a gut-wrenching question, man. That's a gut-wrenching question. And I don't have an answer, I'm sorry. I don't have an answer. The way I'm feeling now, if I'm being honest, the way I'm feeling now, let it burn. That's how I feel. Let it burn. Nothing is going to be accomplished in the Democratic Party the way that it is. And I don't want to reward them for their bad behavior. Understanding fully that Donald Trump and the Republican Party is going to do bad things to this country. But are those bad things, the bad things that they're going to do to this country, whether it wrecks the stock market, whether it wrecks people's lives, whether it hurts people in regards to Social Security and Medicare, will those people who have parents, who have loved ones, will they get pissed off? And will those pissed off people wake the fuck up and get more entrenched in the political process? If that is my focus, if that's my point of view, then yeah, I would be in the let it burn camp. And I would be in the camp of not doing squat to help Democrats. That sounds bad, but it's true. I don't know another way to wake the public up. So I'm stuck with this thing of, how do you wake the public up short of putting pain on that public? The Vietnam War protesters were pissed off during the Vietnam War because they were pulled into the Vietnam War. You had a draft. If you didn't have the draft, would you have all those protesters out there? Meaning, if they were arranged in the same way that we're arranged now with the military, with 1% or 2% of the public fighting in the military, the president has his own private army, his own private force. You don't see those people protesting the war. They're not out there. I would wager they're not out there because they're not directly affected and impacted by the fact that they have war. In the same way that Vietnam protesters were pissed off because they were being drafted into the war, is that what it takes to get people involved in the political process? To be hurt in some way, materially, by the administration itself. And will that being hurt by the administration get them active in the political process? I can make that argument. I can make that argument. My problem with that argument is I'm a lefty. At the end of the day, they're real people that are being hurt in the process. It takes a certain level of callousness to make that case, but I can make that argument and be honest in that argument. I can make the other argument too of hold the line. So I don't know which. I don't know which. It's not. That's a fucked up question to ask, Jeremy. I don't know how to answer that question. it's like oh, that hurts. That hurts. That's a gut wrenching question. That's a gut wrenching question. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like it would literally take me to be at 2020 with a gun to my head to answer that question. But I could tell you this. My assumption was that they were going to go after Social Security and Medicare during this term, and they are. So, I don't know. I'm concerned they would find another Obama to distract voters. I'm concerned about that too, Gemini Waters. That's my concern too. That is my biggest concern. Shabitha Enriquez, missed it. Kate Farr, she didn't suffer enough. Jacqueline Thompson, Stephen Colbert, 5, agreed. Barbara Mercy, at least Jamal doesn't start each video by coming in through the door and changing his shoe. Mr. Rogers. Oh, Barbara Mercy. You think of Mr. Rogers. Yeah, because I have all these different cardigans. You know what's wild? I used to like sweaters even when I was in middle school. Even in middle school, I loved sweaters. I must have, loved these things in a past life or something. It's just this kind of cosmic imprint that's showing up in this lifetime. I have no idea. If Hillary Clinton is allowed to run for president again, everybody should leave the Democratic Party. M99. You would hope. But come on. You're going to have these people screaming, we're with her. We're with her again. We're with her again. Exactly. Trump is a symptom. What's the point of resisting him? He is a symptom. He is a symptom of the thing. But yeah, you still need to resist. Yes, Jamal, that is what it will take. I feel callous saying it. It's like my mom is on Social Security. I don't want her being kicked off of Social Security. I have family that's on Social Security. I have family that's on Medicare. Hell, I used to be on Medicare. These are things in this country that works. Governmental action that works. Governmental action that was taken to deal with an issue that focused on the human being first. And they work because they were focused on the human being first. It wasn't these utopian ideas of a market-based solution to healthcare that Obama pushed. None of that. It was built on this idea that we want this system to work. Ergo, it works. It's the most popular system, governmental systems in this country. The last thing that should happen is they go after it. But I will tell you this. If they did go after it, they will be held to pay. If you're looking for some kind of substantive change where you get a large number of the public on your side, I would say destroying something that's tantamount or that's connected to their livelihood would do it. Feels bad to say that, but yeah. It feels bad to say it. I'm protesting at Michelle Obama's appearance next week. When they go low, we go and spy. BB Hammer. Oh, Mr. Rogers was an ex-Marine and deeply religious, but not pushy, the good kind. No way. I did not know that. Jamal hanging out, offering guidance to Princess Zelda in Happy Kingdom, Lorem Zims. Okay, you guys are ragged on my shirt or my jacket. Just a glancing blow. She'd be an attraction for the rest of her life. You talking about Hillary Clinton, you hit by bus. Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. Yeah, that's funny. That is funny, BB Hammer. That is funny. All right, guys, we've had this for an hour and 42 minutes. I've had callers into the show. I like this process. I love the fact that Google makes this work. Good job, Google. Yeah, guys, I hope this wasn't too long and laboring and everything else. And thank you guys for calling in. Thank all of you guys who donated Super Cash. Thank all of you guys who are my subscribers. You guys are fucking awesome. Somebody said this was the smartest chat on the web. I will go with it. I will go with one more. It's not about being smart, believe it or not. That helps. But it's more so the openness to allow the other opinions into the process. Meaning, don't be an asshole. Meaning, don't be a troll in the sense of being loud and abusive and abrasive and everything else. But definitely get your opinion. You might get pushback on the opinion, but nobody's going to beat you over the head and talk bad about you. Among everything else, that's the part that I love about my chat. If we're talking about Clinton, there would be people who are like, well, wait a minute, I voted for Hillary Clinton. If we're talking about Trump, there'd be people who like Trump, even though there were going to be a lot of people who dislike Trump, because ultimately I dislike Trump. Whatever we're talking about, we were talking about cannibalism one day. you know, in context of human beings eating meat and vegetarianism. We talk about every fucking thing. Aliens, ESP, sci stuff, out of body, all this stuff comes up. And the audience, for the most part, some of them like it, some of them dislike it, but at the end of the day, they tend to be decent human beings when they're engaging in the conversation. That's what I love. When you ask me what do I love about my channel, that's it. That's the thing that I love, the community of it. So thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for sharing and liking the video, guys. And thank you guys for ultimately being you. You're fucking awesome. Stay that way. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, of course, feel free to share, right? Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And, of course, you can always support the Patreon or Super Cash. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good night. And, by the way, I don't think I'm going to do it tonight because it's like 11 o'clock. But I do want to do the Cenk Uygur, the debate between the two. I haven't watched it. I intentionally did not watch it because I want to review it at the same time as everybody else. So, I will end it with that. And you guys have a good night, depending on where you are, of course. Thanks, guys.